Welcome back to CIA Declassified. Sometimes the most dangerous weapon in an enemy's arsenal isn't a bomb or a bullet, it's a piece of art. In 1945, a group of Soviet schoolchildren, the Vladimir Lenin All-Union Pioneer Organization, presented a gift to the U.S. Ambassador Avril Harriman. It was a beautiful hand-carved wooden replica of the Great Seal of the United States. Touched by the gesture, Harriman hung it on the wall of his private study at Spaso House in Moscow. For 7 years it hung there, a silent witness to the birth of the Cold War, but the wood held a secret that would baffle American intelligence for decades. The device inside the seal was so advanced that when U.S. technicians finally found it, they didn't even know what they were looking at. The device, later nicknamed the Thing, was designed by Leon Theremin, the same Soviet inventor who created the electronic musical instrument that bears his name. A quote from a declassified 1952 FBI laboratory report. The device is unique in that it contains no internal power source, no vacuum tubes, and no transistors. It is a completely passive system, end quote. The Thing consisted of a small capacitive microphone attached to a thin wire antenna, all housed within a copper cavity resonator. The device was only activated when a specific radio frequency was beamed at Spaso House from a Soviet van parked nearby. Ambassador George Kennan, who succeeded Harriman, only discovered the bug in 1952 after British and American radio operators overheard his private conversations being broadcast on an unassigned frequency. A quote from Ambassador George Kennan from his memoirs. The realization that my most private thoughts and official secrets had been transmitted into the ears of the Kremlin for years was a profound shock to my sense of security. End quote. The Soviets placed the bug inside the hollowed-out beak and shield of the wooden eagle, where it was virtually invisible to X-rays of that era. Because it had no battery, the Thing could theoretically last forever, as it only functioned when energized by an external signal. The U.S. kept the discovery secret for 8 years, only revealing it to the United Nations in 1960 as a counter-accusation after the Soviets shot down Gary Powers' U-2 spy plane. A quote from Henry Cabot Lodge, Jr. at the UN Security Council. I hold here a wooden representation of the Great Seal, and here in the back is the evidence of Soviet duplicity, end quote. The technology behind the bug was so complex that the CIA had to hire outside scientists to build a working replica just to understand how it worked. The cavity resonator was so sensitive it could pick up the vibration of a whisper against the wooden surface of the seal from across the room. Soviet agents would park a plane delivery van outside the embassy and paint the building with radio waves to turn the bug on. The declassification shows that the Thing was the first known use of what we now call FRID technology. Ambassador Harriman reportedly liked the seal so much he insisted on hanging it in the one room where he conducted his most sensitive business. The bug was found during a sweep of the embassy conducted by 2 security officers who spent all night tapping on walls with mallets. The declassification release reveals that the CIA attempted to create their own version called Project Satyr, but struggled to match the Soviet miniaturization. Leon Theremin was actually a prisoner in a Soviet laboratory, or Sharashka, Sharashka, when he was forced to design the device. The Great Seal Bug remains one of the most successful passive intelligence operations in history. A quote from a 1953 CIA technical analysis: "This device represents a leap in electromagnetic application that Western science has yet to fully comprehend." End quote. The original bug is now on display at the National Cryptologic Museum in Maryland. The declassification includes the Soviet activation logs showing they listened to over 14,000 hours of top-secret American conversations. The bug's antenna was just 9 inches long, making it nearly impossible to detect with the wide-band scanners of the 1940s. The device was so sturdy that it survived several moves and cleanings of the embassy without losing its calibration. The discovery of the thing led to the invention of the Faraday cage rooms in modern embassies. A quote from a 1960 KGB memo: "The Americans have finally found the gift. It served us well through 3 administrations." End quote. The declassification files show that the CIA feared the Soviets had placed similar devices in the heels of diplomats' shoes. The thing utilized a vibrating diaphragm thinner than a human hair to modulate the radio signal. Soviet technicians used a heterodyne receiver to turn the modulated radio waves back into audible sound. The bug was so effective because it was frequency agile, meaning it could respond to a range of signals, making it harder for Americans to jam. The declassification reveals that Leon Theremin was awarded the Stalin Prize in secret for the device's success. The device was so low-tech in appearance, just a metal can and a wire, that the first American agent to see it thought it was a piece of trash. The declassification confirms CIA code name for the investigation into the bug was Operation Jade. A quote from a 1952 State Department security brief: "Every wooden fixture and every overseas post must now be considered a potential listening post." End quote. The wood of the Great Seal itself acted as a soundboard, amplifying the vibrations for the internal microphone. The bug was finally silenced not by a technician, but when an American agent accidentally knocked the seal off the wall, slightly bending the antenna. The declassified files show that the Soviets attempted to gift similar bugs to the British and French ambassadors in the form of chess sets. To trick the Americans into keeping the gift, the Soviets presented the seal during a ceremony specifically honoring the friendship between the Allies, using children to lower the diplomats' natural suspicion. A quote from a 1952 technical memo by Peter Wright from the M15. "The sheer simplicity of the resonator is its greatest strength. There is nothing to burn out, nothing to short circuit, and nothing for a standard bug detector to sniff out." End quote. During the 1960 UN presentation, the U.S. delegation had to build a giant model of the bug to show the assembly because the actual device was so small it couldn't be seen from the back of the room. The declassified files confirm that after the discovery, the State Department ordered every gift ever received by an American diplomat since 1945 to be moved to a high-security warehouse for X-ray scanning. While the cavity resonator is a known fact, a 1954 CIA file titled Operation Jade Appendix 4, The Biological Feedback, is entirely redacted. Sorry about all the coughing. It's my allergies. There's something in the air. Why is the agency hiding the human interaction with the wood? Why is this redacted? Get ready for the theory of the resonant mind. Speculation suggests that the thing wasn't just a microphone, but a psychotropic broadcaster. The theory claims the device used the ambassador's own brainwaves to power a subliminal command signal. By beaming specific frequencies at the seal, the Soviets could theoretically influence the ambassador's decisions. The black redactions are believed to hide the list of orders he unknowingly followed and the mental breaks he suffered during his tenure. What if there are more? A dark rumor suggests the Soviets hid the thing's descendants in every U.S. federal building in the 1950s. The speculation is that the redactions hide the activation tones, specific musical notes, or radio burst that could turn an entire building from the floorboards to the ceiling tiles into a giant living microphone today. The black ink covers the current locations of bugs that have never been found. Could the wood see you? Speculation suggests the redactions hide Project Fiber Optic, where the Soviets used the natural vessels in the wood of the seal to act as primitive lenses, and the black bars are the ghostly images of the ambassador's private documents. Watch out for the shadow talker theory. It claims the redactions hide evidence that the thing could record a voice and replay it later at a different frequency to create a phantom conversation that would frame American officials for treason. What if the music was a weapon? Some believe the redactions hide the discovery that the bug emitted an infrasonic hum that caused the embassy staff to experience chronic nausea and anxiety, a precursor to Havana syndrome. Could it be self-replicating? A wild rumor suggests the redactions hide Project Spore, an experiment where the bug was infused with a metallic fungus that would grow into the walls and spread the listening network throughout the building. Brace for the puppet master theory. It claims the redactions prove the bug could override the embassy's telephone lines and make it sound like the president was giving orders that actually came from Moscow. Some believe the redactions hide the city-wide bug. Speculation suggests the thing was just the hub of a network that turned every metal pipe in Moscow into a giant antenna, and the black bars are the map of the sound web. Beware the ancient echo rumor. It claims the redactions hide evidence that Leon Theremin found the designs for the bug in an ancient occult text, and the black bars hide the ritual frequencies used to activate it. Some speculate the black bars hide the dead man's switch. The theory is that if the bug was ever opened incorrectly, it would release a nerve agent hidden in the copper cavity, and the redactions are the toxicology reports of the men who found it. Keep an eye out for the acoustic wallpaper theory. It suggests the redactions cover the existence of a special paint the Soviets gave the ambassador that turned the entire room into a vibrating microphone, with the seal acting as the central hub. A chilling legend among spooks claims the redactions hide Operation Ghost Radio, where the bug supposedly recorded the heartbeats of every American who entered the room to create a stress database for future blackmail. What if the bug never turned off? Some speculate the black bars hide the discovery that the bug was actually powered by the static electricity of the carpet, meaning the Soviets didn't even need the van outside to keep listening. Brace yourself for the double talk theory. It claims the redactions hide evidence that the bug could synthesize an ambassador's voice in real time, allowing the Soviets to place fake phone calls to DC that sounded perfectly authentic. Lastly, some theorists believe the redactions hide Project Mir Sight, where the resonator was used to map the ambassador's retina through the wood, allowing the Soviets to see exactly what he was reading on his desk. Was the thing a success? Technically, it was a masterpiece. It redefined the entire field of espionage. Operationally, it was a disaster for the US. The declassification shows that the thing allowed the Soviets to anticipate every American move in the early Cold War, from the Berlin airlift to the formation of NATO. It was a success that proved that a passive enemy is often the most dangerous one. As far as operational and technological breakthroughs go, the Great Seal Bug changed the rules of the great game. Passive wireless power, the first use of electromagnetic induction to power a remote device. Resonant cavity spyware, the foundation for modern stethoscopic microphones that listen through walls. Invisible hardware, the science of creating electronics out of raw materials like copper cans and wires that don't look like electronics. The sweep protocol, the creation of the modern technical surveillance countermeasures industry. The Great Seal Bug reminds us that trust is a luxury a diplomat can rarely afford. Sometimes a gift is just a gift, but sometimes it's a window into your soul. The next time you hang a picture or accept a souvenir, look closer, because the wood might be listening. Thanks for tuning in. Join us next time we examine Operation Dragon. The agency went to Tibet. We'll uncover the secret support for the 1959 Tibetan uprising. We'll look at the Khampa guerrillas trained in the mountains of Colorado and dropped back into the Himalayas to fight the Chinese army. Join us next time for the Dragon's Breath. In the meantime, I'll see you in the archive.